This is totally useless information with Nick and Roy. Listen, laugh, and learn.
This week on the show, we introduce another new topic. That's like topic after topic. Down the garden path. Plus, a fan favorite, science, science, science.
Plus, we'll open up the mailbag. Someone who wrote in not to ask us anything, but to give us information. And, of course, news from around the world.
Totally useless information. It's everything you never needed to know.
Down the garden path with Nick and Roy.
Yes, down the garden path. We'll take you down the garden path. A brand new topic. Now, I came up with this one.
Why does she sound like that? Like, hello.
What? It's Mother Nature. Listen, it's Mother Nature.
Down the garden path with Nick and Roy.
Yeah, she's high on life. But we have a brand new topic, Down the Garden Path. You go to nickandroy.com to suggest any topics. But I came up with this one because I was down the garden path. Pine needle tea. Fresh pine needles are rich in vitamin A and C. Particularly medicinal are Scotch and white pine needles. A cup of strong pine needle tea has approximately 5 times more vitamin C than a lemon.
Really?
Native Americans and early settlers knew of the pine needle's benefits long before scientific research confirmed it. They drank the tea several times a day to remedy coughs, colds, and to prevent scurvy.
Okay, flower people, get ready for the first economic bubble and the first economic collapse. It happened in Holland.
Oh.
Yes. This is many, many years ago. Tulips became so popular in like the 1700s. Tulips became so popular that the plants were worth more than gold.
Oh.
And they became so overproduced that the market collapsed. And literally, the tulip market collapsed and people lost fortunes on the tulip market.
Stop and smell the flowers, why don't you? The fragrance of flowers has only one purpose. That's it. To attract insects needed for pollination. Flowers pollinated by wind don't need to attract insects and therefore have no scent.
Yeah, until they attract my wind.
Speaking of which, coming up in the science section here on Totally Useless Information with Nick and Roy, we'll talk about flatulence. Why not?
Explosion.
Yes.
Okay, the flower, the Gladiolas, has a great story to it. It got, by the way, thanks, Nick. This is a good topic, garden, because I thought it was going to be a bore, but then I started reading and I'm like, oh, this is real interesting. So the flower, the Gladiolus, got its name from ancient Romans who called their swords gladius. That's what their swords were called, gladius. Pliny, the elder, and I've heard his name before in Roman history.
Right.
Pliny the elder, who was a famous Roman author, gave the flower its name because he said the leaves of the flower looked like Roman swords. They were shaped like Roman swords.
Nice.
So he called them gladiolus.
I wonder if that's why they call them gladiators.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. The gladiators drew their gladius and gave them a good sword.
Yeah, it's a good sword. Exactly. Helicopters in my rain gutters. Well, if you say to someone, I've got to clean the helicopters from the gutters.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
That's right. And everyone will know exactly what we're talking about. Now, tell something that you need to clean the samaras from the gutters. They're going to look at you like, what the heck are you talking about? Samaras are the winged seeds, such as ash or elm keys, and, of course, maple helicopters.
Did you ever put them on your nose?
Yes, all the time.
You broke the thing open and it was like sticky and it would stick on your nose.
Yeah, from the sap from the tree. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's crazy.
I did that last week, actually.
Yeah, I know you probably did. Yeah.
I put it over my mask, actually.
Yeah, I put them on my mask.
Yes.
We have the wonders of the world. You've heard of the wonders of the world, the Taj Mahal.
There are 7 of them, I think, right?
The Grand Canyon, yes. The Taj Mahal. These are the wonders of the world. But did you know that there were ancient wonders of the world? The ancient wonders. And
I was wondering about that, but go on, enlighten us.
Yeah, I believe there was 6 of those. And I have to look that up. I don't know that for sure.
Okay.
I just said it to make it sound like I know what I'm talking about.
Totally useless information with Nick and Roy.
Did
yes?
everyone believe that? Okay, so we have the wonders of the world, and we also have the wonders of the ancient world. And one of them was a garden. Did you know that?
No.
I did.
Okay.
And I looked it up. The ancient wonder was the Hanging Gardens of Babylon. And the king who built it was Nebuchadnezzar. You've heard his name.
Yeah.
It was located in the capital of Babylon. And this supposedly, I hate when people say supposedly.
Yes.
Supposedly, it was amazing, utterly amazing. And people would stand in awe looking at these hanging gardens. And we're not sure. And history says that this happened and where it was, but no one is sure if it actually was there. But there is so much throughout history, there is so many indications from different cultures that they saw this Babylonian hanging garden of Nebuchadnezzar that they believe it's true.
7 wonders of the world. We're the 8th wonder of the world because people are wondering, what the heck are we talking about? It's totally useless information with Nick.
And we're 8 times as dumb.
Yes. But you're smarter for it. Listen, laugh, and learn. Oak trees are struck by lightning more than any other tree. They have a deep central root as well as hollow water-filled cells that run up and down the wood of the oak's trunk. These 2 qualities make these oak trees better conductors and better grounders of lightning than trees with shallow roots and closed cells. So trees are frequently conductors of lightning to the ground, which is why they always tell you, do not go under a tree during a lightning storm. The best place? In your car. Why? Because you're grounded. Now, chances are I'm in the car because I'm grounded. It's a whole different interpretation.
Rubber tires insulate the car from the shock of a lightning bolt. And so I double it up by protecting myself with
rubbers.
Yes. With galoshes.
Galoshes, exactly. In case if it's raining.
Why?
Right?
What were you thinking?
Nothing at all.
What were you thinking?
Nowhere near it, really.
The origins of the greenhouse dates back to Rome. Now, we spoke about Rome before with Pliny the Elder.
Yes.
What a name, Pliny. Yo, Pliny, what's up?
Hey, Pliny.
Not much. Did you see Nebuchadnezzar's thing? And I'm hanging out with Ishkabibble.
Under an oak tree.
The origins of the greenhouse date back to Rome. Emperor Tiberius really liked cucumbers. In fact, he insisted on having 1 cucumber every day. He had a cucumber every day. But of course, cucumbers grew in seasons, and Tiberius wasn't having that. He says, I need one 365 days a year. So the Roman scientists and farmers got together and figured out how to create an environment where things could grow even in inclement temperatures.
Nice.
So they created the greenhouse.
So that's our brand new topic, Down the Garden Path. If you have any topic suggestions, go to nickandroy.com. You're listening to Totally Useless Information with Nick and Roy.
Einstein was a moron. Newton was a jerk. E equals nothing. It's science, science, science.
That's one of the most popular jingles. People have said that of all the jingles that we have, they love that one. Science, science, science. Do not hold in your farts. Okay? No, do not. No. This is from Reader's Digest.
Let me just explain something. I know somebody that actually exploded.
Really?
Yes. Human spontaneous combustion.
Scientists recruited 10 healthy adults and had them all eat half a can of beans. Was your friend part of this study? They had them eat half a can of beans in addition to their regular diet. Over the next day, they measured their gas. They found that men and women both farted about 8 times a day, although passing gas up to 20 times a day is normal. Large farts, I don't know how you would measure them, but they're most common in the large farts are most common in the hour after meals, and the subject released half as much gas while sleeping as they did while awake. All right? Now, the reason why
Let me just explain something.
Yes, explain.
So if 20 times is normal,
right,
then, I mean, this show, we're probably 15 minutes in. I'm at about 18.
Well, you mean because of the hot air we're expelling here? Now, holding it keeps the gases.
The computer screen warped.
Now that's a hot spot. Holding it in keeps the gases trapped in your intestines, where they will continue to build up and put pressure on the colon until you find a way to release it. According to Dr. Sunpal, holding your gas usually won't lead to adverse health effects, but it is better to release your farts than to hold them in.
Well, you know, I hate Elon Musk, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And, but I showed him how to power that rocket.
Yes, SpaceX is powered by Roy from Florida.
Well, listen, so part of science, I just want to go through this thing. First off, this week I went up to a place called Wiki Watchy Mermaids.
Oh,
this since 1947 they've been doing this show. So more people were coming to see this. There was Grand Canyon, Niagara Falls, Wiki Watchy Mermaids. So then, of course, Disney World opened up and a lot of different things changed, and of course, but since 1947 they've been doing this show in the same thing. They literally built a tank around the spring.
Oh,
and the scientific part of it is the spring perks up 1,200,000 gallons of water per day.
yikes.
Nick and Roy will continue with totally useless information. To access the full library of episodes, visit nickandroy.com. That's nickandroy.com. Totally useless information with Nick and Roy continues. Listen, laugh, and learn.
Well, how about the hissing cockroach? How did the Madagascar hissing cockroach get its name? Well, it hisses, of course. But how it hisses is a little weird. The giant insect forces gas, there we go with the gas again, through its tiny breathing pores called spiracles and its thorax and abdomen. The cockroaches hiss when they're surprised, when challenging other cockroaches to a fight, and when trying to attract mates. Here's an audio sample of what the hissing cockroach sounds like. Yeah.
If it was a little bigger, it would sound like.
That's right.
Now, listen, you know, I agree with the hissing cockroach, and I understand how it adapted,
Yeah.
you know, in its environment.
You did.
Because I have the same thing when I'm startled. So basically, it's impossible to rob me, because if somebody pulls a gun out or a knife and says, "Give me your money," that's startling me, and they'll be like, and they'll be like, "No, okay, you know what? Keep it."
That's right. You can have it. What I like about that whole fact is that, challenging another cockroach to a fight is one thing when they're surprised, but how do you attract a mate?
Yeah.
Oh, baby. Oh, yeah, right there. Right there. Rub my abdomen. There you go. Oh, yeah. Scientists have discovered, now we're talking about science here on Totally Useless Information with Nick and Roy. Scientists discovered after training insects to count shapes. Which insects? Bees. Bees can add. You thought bees could only spell? They now can add.
So it's not just a spelling bee, it's a math
It's
bee.
an adding bee. Following research, it was revealed they can count to 4. Okay?
They're smart enough to count to 4.
That's correct. The bees were trained.
I'll be.
Yeah, you were stung by that fact, were you?
Just stung by that fact. Yeah.
The bees were trained to choose an image with the lowest number of elements in order to receive a reward of sugar solution. So, for example, the bees learned to choose 3 elements when presented 3 versus 4, and most of the time they chose the number 4. Therefore, they knew how to count to 4, and then their friend came along for moral support. You're listening to Totally Useless Information with Nick and Roy.
And Roy.
And now for something completely useless.
With all the electric cars that are going to be made, this is an important fact. Listen to how many pounds. It's 55 pounds of copper wire is built into the average car. 55 pounds. Now, I have felt a wire harness of a car. It's heavy.
Right.
But 55 pounds, that's a lot of copper. Okay, well, guess how much an electric car uses? Because all it is wires, and the wires in the engine are wire wrapped, and like the old Tesla motors are wrapped coils of copper.
I would say double. That's what I would say, double.
3 times. 158 pounds on average is 150 pounds of copper wire in a electric car. Mm-hmm. It makes you so. Tip of the day, folks: get on the commodities market and buy copper.
Yeah,
it's a penny stock.
Copper penny. There you go. Wow, I love that one. You're listening to Totally Useless Information with Nick and Roy. If you want to send us an email, we're really open to that. Go to nickandroy.com.
What's in the mail?
So go to nickandroy.com, click on Contact Us, and we'll get your email. Now, usually when people email us, they tell us, hey, we love your show, and they want us to answer a question. But in this case, Kaylin from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Go Steelers.
That's right. I don't know if she is a Steelers fan, but she sent us information because she thought she would educate us. Poor thing. She wrote a paper about a baseball player named William Hoy, and how he was instrumental in the sign language used in baseball even today. William Dummy Hoy was nicknamed Dummy because he was deaf. In the 1860s, people who were deaf or mute were given that nickname, not because of their lack of intelligence. Hoy played in the major leagues from 1888 to 1902.
What a different time.
Right.
Right now, if you called a deaf person a dummy, you'd be...
Yeah, you're the dummy.
Jail.
You would be the dummy for calling a deaf person that. It is incorrect. So his batting average was near 290, so not too bad. Of his many accomplishments, he hit the first Grand Slam home run in the American League and was the first player ever to be inducted into the American Athletic Association for Deaf's Hall of Fame because he was deaf. Now, William Hoy is responsible for sign language in baseball today. How? Because he was deaf, he couldn't hear the umpire call the pitch, a ball, or a strike. So he would ask his third base coach to lift his right arm if it was a strike and his left arm if it was a ball. This quickly caught on with other players and umpires. They found it to be extremely useful with other deaf players. Hand signals are still used today and are considered a highly regarded secret as to why, but hand signals are long-standing testament for the great game of baseball. And one other fact here, Gallaudet University in Washington, D.C., who caters to deaf and hard of hearing students, dedicated a baseball field, Hoy Field, in his honor. William Hoy. So thank you, Kaylin, for that wonderful piece of information.
Let me say, Kaylin, you may not be a Steelers fan, but you stole our heart.
So we give you an A+. We give you an A+ on that paper. Yeah, so once again, if you'd like to send us an email, you can either ask us a question or teach us a thing or two. nickandroy.com.
From Beethoven to Bieber, rock and roll to rhythm and blues. This is Totally Useless Music Information with Nick and Roy.
As my dad used to say, we're musicists instead of musician. He was musicists.
Country music has some common things and common themes.
Yeah.
We all know that. There's the joke that says, what do you get when you play a country music song backwards? You get back your girl, your truck, your dog.
Okay, yes.
Okay, country music has these common themes. Well, they did a study, of course, because why not when there's money to give away?
Yes.
1 in 5 country music songs refer to alcohol.
Okay.
1 in 3 talk about crying and tears, and 1 in 7 talk about mama.
Not too bad.
Now, most people don't know, but I wrote country music with a guy named Johnny Rankin for a couple of years. We wrote a bunch of country songs. So,
did any of them include booze and mamas? Shout out to Johnny. Yes, Johnny. As a matter of fact, when you hear our theme song,
Totally useless information.
That's Johnny.
It's everything you never needed to know.
Yep, that's Johnny on the guitar.
That Johnny's playing the guitar.
Way to go. Well, thank you.
Yeah, Johnny's really cool. He's a cool guy. And yes, in fact, his song is when Junior turns 21, me and the boys are going to have some fun. We're going to go down to the Roadhouse bar and get some whiskey flowing. So there's your alcohol.
There you go. Okay, in 2016, you would think Beyonce was really, really popular, right? Beyonce just was sold more CDs than anybody else, except for Mozart. Mozart sold more CDs than Beyonce in the year 2016.
Yeah, see, I mean, people, that's like, again, it's just something that people buy. Everybody's got some. I'm sure my son, who's 30 years old, has classical music in his library of music.
Well, Mozart had to cancel his tour, of course, because of COVID.
George, Paul, Ringo, and John, the Beatles, had one thing in common, one common denominator. Not one of them could read or write music. I've written lots of songs. I've probably written around 25, 30 songs, maybe more. And I don't read music. I can't read it. I don't write it.
Do you sight read music? Like you have an idea where the notes are? No, not at all.
Absolutely not. I have no clue. I play the guitar. I have no clue what the chords are. I know what they sound like, but I do not know what they are.
Well, Roy, in addition to the many talents that he brings here, and we'll let you know when that starts, he's also an amazing entertainer. If you're in the southwest part of Florida, check out our website, nickandroy.com, and you'll see a link that's Music by Roy, or you can go to musicbyroy.com, and you'll find out where Roy is performing next.
Nick and Roy will continue with totally useless information. We're back with totally useless information with Nick and Roy. Listen, laugh, and learn.
Einstein was a moron. Newton was a jerk. E equals nothing. It's science, science, science.
Well, I guess we have a theme in this show. We talk about penises. We talked about urine. Charging your phone with urine. Okay, so in case you're missing, you ever leave the house and you forget your phone charger? Well, here's a solution. Dr. Iropoulos from Bristol Robotics Laboratory claimed that one product that we can be sure of an unending supply is your own urine. By harnessing this power as urine passes through a cascade of microbial fuel cells, or MFCs, we have managed to charge a Samsung mobile phone. The scientists believe the technology has the future that's potential to be installed in bathrooms to harness the urine and produce sufficient electricity to power showers, lighting, or razors, as well as mobile phones. Good old P.
See, people thought I was nuts when I would put my phone on vibrate and stick it in my pants. But it was a dual purpose. I was actually charging my phone as well.
Right. Yeah, it's called wireless charging.
Every second, at least 100 million neutrons pass through a square centimeter of our body. Every second, 100 million neutrons. That is insane. That's rude if you really think about it. It's kind of rude because the neutrons could ask permission before they do that, don't you think?
That's right, yes. And you talk about a neutron pee-pee dance. Scientists have discovered that sunflowers can pull radioactive contaminants out of the soil. Researchers cleaning up the Fukushima site in Japan were putting...
Whoa, wait a minute.
Fukushima, yes.
Really?
Yes, Fukushima.
They're cleaning the Fukushima place?
They are. Look, you're absolutely right. They're putting the flowers to the test. Sunflowers are really good at absorbing certain radioactive isotopes. As the sunflower plant grows, it's sucking the radiation right out of the soil, thanks to Fukushima.
Watch it now.
All right.
Okay, pregnant women are amazing. Get this. By week 20, they will have 50% more blood in their body. By week 20 of being pregnant. They produce it to help the growth of the baby because they need that amount of blood so that the baby can grow properly. 50% more blood in their bodies. You talk about a blood relative.
Yes. You can find the clearest piece of ice and you can create fire with it. Okay?
Fire Wow, it's fire and ice.
Fire and ice, exactly. Carve out a big chunk of ice, then shape the ice into a disc. Use the warmth of your hands to melt it into a smooth, round lens. Remember when you used to do this as a kid? Take a magnifying glass and set the ants on fire? Adjust the angle of the ice disc until the rays of the sunlight shine through it, and now you've created fire.
When we have a drink, or when Nick is drinking the monkey juice, okay, it only takes 6 seconds for our brains to react to the alcohol. 6 seconds. No wonder the monkeys are falling out of the tree.
That's right. Penguin poop from space. Scientists at the British Antarctic Survey found 61 emperor penguin colonies dotted around the southernmost continent, 11 more than the number previously confirmed. So they thought they had 50, but no, there are 61. How did they figure this out? British scientists say there are more emperor penguin colonies in Antarctica because of evidence of bird droppings spotted from space. Scientists used images from Europe's Sentinel-2 satellite mission to look for smudges on the ice that indicated large amounts of penguin poop. And that's how they figured out where these emperor penguin colonies were situated.
I have a conspiracy here.
Uh-oh.
Did you know this? And this is a true fact again, because God knows Roy would never lie.
No.
Well, actually, who the hell knows what the hell we're saying on this show?
Totally useless information. You figure it out.
But here's a scientific fact. The continents are splitting and moving at the exact same speed that a fingernail grows.
Oh, I'm looking at it right now.
Right. It moved.
Yes. I was moved by that fact.
This is how smart we are. We ask other people what they've invented.
Innovation, ideas. The Totally Useless Information Podcast presents Inventions.
And speaking of smart, my first invention today is a smart jacket.
I thought you were going to go to me. You said, speaking of smart, I thought you were going to say, what do you have, Roy? Well,
Yes.
Go ahead, Nick. Go ahead.
Sorry. How unsmart of me. This is a smart jacket with a built-in heater, because we all need one of those. I mean, you live in Florida. You'd want one of these, wouldn't you?
No, I would die in that. I almost died today. It was 95 degrees.
95 degrees. You don't need a built-in heater. The Flex Arm jacket has special heating elements built in the back, chest, and wrist areas. With the help of special sensors, you can adjust the heat in accordance to your wishes. A useful discovery that will be appreciated by everyone. The Flex Warm jacket.
The wheel was invented in 3500 before Christ. Did you get that one? 3,500 years before Jesus walked the earth. It was not invented for travel. In fact, it was not even invented to help transport goods or anything. The first wheel was invented for pottery. Remember in the, what was that movie where the ghost comes? Ghost.
Yes, Ghost.
Okay, the first wheel was invented for pottery, and it took some 300 years for people to figure out to attach it to a cart. What the hell were they doing? Making a lot of pottery in China and crap.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. I mean, imagine the first flat. You'd have to call like AAA.
Exactly. That's the problem, Nick. That in itself is the problem.
That's right. If you have a flat in the very first wheel made out of stone, you needed a spare stone, right? You need a spare.
It's like going to the Goodyear place. It's a mountain.
And that's where the expression, he's the chip off the old block came from. No, we don't know. So there's a food scanner, TelSpec. They had invented something that's released for those who want to quickly and accurately know the composition of a dish. It scans the products, then sends a list of ingredients and information about the nutritional value to a special phone app, of course. You don't need to worry about the safety of the products you eat because you know exactly what's in there. So if you have any sort of food allergies, and it's not necessarily, you don't know exactly what's in there, using this TelSpec food scanner, it'll help you. It could save your life.
When we think of the printing press, we think of 1450. And Johann Gutenberg from Liechtenstein. No, he's not from Liechtenstein, but he was from Deutschland. But guess what? The real inventor of the printing press, his name was Bai Sheng of China, and he invented it in 1045. And the first words were, "Screw you, Gutenberg."
I'm sure that's exactly what it said, and he spelt it right too.
Yeah.
No, I know this sounds like it's the food segment, but my inventions today, there are a couple of them that have to do with food. So I talked about the food scanner, but Toll House cookies. And the reason why I chose this as the invention is because it was invented by mistake. Or was it? We're not sure. The chocolate chip cookie, of course, was invented by American chefs Ruth Graves, Wakefield, and Sue Brides in 1938. They invented the recipe during the period when she owned Toll House Inn, as in Toll House cookies.
Steel, metal, steel, changed the world. When we think of steel, we think of bridges and skyscrapers. But guess what? Steel was invented in 1800 before Christ. Now, again, this is like, we think all this stuff came about, in the last few hundred years, but, or even a 1,000 years. But this is 1,800 years before Jesus walked the earth. They invented steel because they wanted better knives and swords and battle gear. And because I'll tell you the truth, it really hurts like hell to get stabbed with a wooden sword.
Yes, with all the splinters and everything. And then, of course, you get run over by a stone wheel.
Right, with a piece of pottery attached to it.
Yes, and your day is now complete.
Nick and Roy will continue with totally useless information. To access the full library of episodes, visit nickandroy.com. That's nickandroy.com. We're back with totally useless information with Nick and Roy. Listen, laugh, and learn.
Welcome to the Totally Useless Information Fashion Show.
Here's a fashion tidbit I thought was crazy. 100 years ago, now that's not a long time ago, but 100 years ago, Nick, you remember that, if a woman wore her hair with a short cut, okay, if a woman had short hair, it was thought that she was unfaithful to her husband. Now, I thought this was great because I said 100 years ago, all you had to do was look for the short-haired women, and you know who fooled around.
Yes.
You're like, hello, how are you? Oh, hello there. Hello there, Dorothy Hamill.
Dorothy Hamill performs the triple Lutz. We perform the triple klutz.
Yeah, they go, Nick in that tight spandex outfit is about to look like a double sow cow as he's about to do the triple klutz.
Or in dino lingo, a squeal. Sunglasses. So the famous singer and songwriter Elton John, the great singer Elton John. You know what you just did? You just put this horrible image in people's minds of me in a spandex tutu. Come on.
Nick's skating around in his spandex outfit. The announcer goes, Nick's about to do a double sow cow. And, oh, look, he's smuggling a tube steak.
And the audience starts to squeal. The famous singer and songwriter Elton John has an impressive collection of glasses. Estimates of the size of his eyewear collection range anywhere from 2,000 to 250,000 pairs of sunglasses.
Nick, I tell you could have narrowed it down a little better than that. I mean, 2,000 to 250,000. Can we get in touch with him somehow to get a little more clarification on this?
Is it 2,000 or 250,000? Could you let us know exactly how much is in there?
Yeah, a little bit closer. I mean, all right. Around 80% of women buy shoes that are too small. Get ready for this. They're too small for their feet because they would like their feet to look smaller. Okay? Now, I know a lot of women who buy their jeans the same way. But it tends to make their butt look a little bigger. And look out if one of those little rivet buttons pop, boy, it'll take your eye right out.
Yes, that makes their butts look bigger. It's the Kim Kardashian collection.
Mm-hmm.
The first signs of lipstick was around the prehistoric times when women and men used various potent fruit and plant juices to mark their faces in religious ceremonies. They even made themselves more pretty for the opposite sex. The important reason, however, was for medicinal purposes to protect their lips from the natural elements such as dry wind, moisture, and sun, because our lip tissue does not have the melanin that protects us from UV rays.
In medieval times, if a woman wore green, it was because she was trying to become fertile or become pregnant. So she wore green. Maybe if she wore nothing, she would have had a little more help. She might have piqued some male interest by walking around naked.
Well, you know what the problem was? She wore a green dress, but she also had short hair.
I was just going to say, if she had nothing on and short hair, bingo.
Bingo. You're a winner. So when we got married, you got married 36 years ago, is it now? 36 years?
36.
Yeah.
36, almost 37.
And we're going to come up on 19 years coming up soon. It all depends on the rest of this conversation. Tuxedos. We wore tuxedos at our wedding, and tuxedos likely got their name from Tuxedo Park, the first planned residential community in New York. The story has it that one evening, Griswold Lorillard came up with an idea to wear a short black jacket without tails. The new fashion was a hit. When male guests would come and stay with their families in Tuxedo Park, they were intrigued by the jackets the men wore and would return to places such as New York City and ask their tailors to make them a jacket, quote, just like the ones worn in Tuxedo, because of the short tails. And yet now it is the most formal attire for men to wear. Tuxedos.
How cool. How cool. See, I mean, that's one that people will talk about. And being that you talked about the invention of tuxedos, in 1946, the bikini was invented. But there was a problem. It was banned in many countries. In fact, the Vatican banned it and said that it was a sin to wear one. Then the Pope saw Marilyn Monroe in a bikini and he said, "Oh, I think I understand it now. All the women must wear a bikini to get into the heaven."
Oh, God. So today on the show, we talked about expressions, inventions, sacrilegious stuff like we just heard. We went food. It's time. It's now time for the news.
And now, from around the corner and around the world, this is TUI News.
A key ally in Brazil's president has been arrested after anti-corruption officers discovered a wad of banknotes in his underpants. Police initially found 10,000 reais, around 1,700. That's what they're called, reais. Sorry, reais. The $1,750 US they found in a safe. He then asked the cops if he can go to the bathroom, and according to the police report, an officer noticed a large rectangular bulge under the senator's shorts as he walked away.
Could you imagine him going through? Here's some American money. Here's some reais. What's this tube steak in here?
So,
oh, I'm sorry. That's connected.
So he went. They realized this rectangular bulge. Found inside his underwear near his buttocks, according to the report, were stacks of money that totaled around $2,600 US. When asked whether he had any additional cash stowed in his underpants, the senator angrily shoved his hands into his underwear to retrieve more stacks of bills totaling $3,100 US, or $17,000.
So the money was stuck behind his buttocks.
Behind and in between. A subsequent search, there's more. Not only 3 times, a subsequent search turned up another 250 reais for another $43.
What did he say to them? Did he say, "I have a life of crime, but it's behind me"?
So I know I threw a lot of numbers at you guys. So in case you're wondering, he stuffed over $5,700 US in his underpants.
My God, his butt looked at the big wad of money and said, "The buck stops here."
No, the butt stops here.
You can't make this stuff up.
No. So if you have a news item you'd like for us to explore here on Totally Useless Information with Nick and Roy, simply
we don't want to explore that, I'll tell you. I don't want to explore anybody's underwear other than maybe Heidi Klum.
And if anybody has change of a 10,000 Rias, simply go to our website, Nick and Roy. Go to nickandroy.com.
Totally Useless Information with Nick and Roy is a production of nickandroy.com. Visit nickandroy.com to access the full library of episodes or wherever you get your podcasts.